All righty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 12th episode of Doug's Dugout and our 90th episode across the entire media group. So, Doug, you're at episode number 12 and episode 90 across the board.
Good afternoon there, Danny. How you doing today?
Doing good. Doing good. How are you doing?
Can't get any better than this. It's
Yeah.
only 88 degrees and only 11 miles an hour wind speed.
Yep. It's
Glad to
great
be
to be in
alive in the
South
valley, huh?
Texas. It's our little slice of heaven.
It's just you can't get any better than the South Texas.
All
I
righty,
mean, we
Doug.
actually we actually got some rain yesterday. It was like it lasted for like 3 minutes.
I know, right? Not even enough time
Yeah.
for the mosquitoes to spawn.
No, not really. They all left the state.
I know. Well, with the heat, they can't even reproduce. That's been the good thing. I don't think we've had any
That's good.
mosquitoes this summer.
Well, we had them out here in the hood. Out here in the hood, we always get them
Hmm.
around the Green Monster.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
maybe it's the green monster that's replicating them.
Yeah, actually, the Green Monster's actually not been too bad, really. I
Wow.
mean, it's been, the same crappy water as always is, but it's not as green as it always is. I don't know. It's a reflection of the lack of sunshine on it or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what the deal is, but
Well, have you been out
it's.
on your e-bike lately?
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I get done here, I'll probably be going out about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I've been. The trouble is, it gets dark so early now. I mean, it's dark way before 8 o'clock.
Right.
So I wait till like 6:30 or so for the wind to die down and the heat, right?
Right.
And that only gives me about an hour and a half to drive. So I'm a ride, so I have to start earlier. But then, you know, but
Right.
no, I'm out all the time on the e-bike. I looking forward to a little bit cooler weather and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's
Matter
good.
of fact, I even explored going to a barber shop in Los Fresnos so I could just ride my bike to Los Fresnos to a barber shop.
Oh, wow. But that's kind of far, isn't it?
No, I ride Los Fresnos all the time.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So
So
yeah.
what's
So
going on in the MLB today?
okay. Well, Sunday, the Cardinals are playing Philadelphia and St. Louis,
Yeah.
and they got a much better team than the Cardinals, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Phillies, the second half of the season, the Phillies have really turned it on. Uh, they're definitely be going to the playoffs, and they may repeat what they did last year, go to the World Series.
Wow.
Um, the Phillies have. Since they're in another division, I don't get to see the Phillies too much, but looking at their stars like Bryce Harper and their catcher Riamato and the right fielder Castellano and some other guys, they got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Schwarber, I mean Kyle Schwarber, he's a left fielder. He's got 44 homers and 90 some RBIs, and his batting average is 197. Can
Wow.
you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
the Cardinals, I mean, everybody's going on the DL. I mean, like Tyler O'Neill back on the DL, so they brought up Juan Yepez from the minors, which is I like Yepez. Donovan and Donovan's out for the season. Carlson's out for the season. So we're getting to see a lot of kids. My favorite, Mason Wynn, they brought him up at shortstop, and he's not hitting that well, but he's a good fielder,
Yeah.
and he'll hit eventually. You know,
Yeah.
and there's some other kids they brought up, and Arenado and Goldschmidt and Contreras. I mean, they're solid as a rock. I mean, Goldschmidt, he's kind of having an off season. He's only hitting about 270 with 24 homers, but but he's doing okay. And then the last half of the season, Contreras, kind of found his swing and his defense too. And the catcher, they replaced Yadier Molina, and he's hitting like almost 270 with almost 20 homers. And and Arenado's Arenado.
Yeah.
Some of these plays Arenado makes is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Definitely the best third baseman I've ever seen play.
Yeah. Wow. Well, definitely let's get into the stats here. Let me flip the screen here. Give me a second. We've got our virtual iPad up. And let's go back to the standings real quick. Hold on 1 second. There we go. We've got the standings now. All right. And we'll look at the American League East. Obviously, there you've got Baltimore with 92 wins and 56 losses.
Yeah, well, Cardinals played Baltimore in Baltimore a couple games this week, and with a team with no names on it, they played some pretty good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they still do not draw. I don't know what it is, but Baltimore, even though they're definitely going to the playoffs, they just don't draw the fans. But they got a good team. Baltimore is definitely a contender.
Yeah. And then you've
Yeah,
got Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, they're playing Baltimore this weekend. I think Baltimore got blown out the first game, so this is an important series for Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And then you've got Toronto. And
Yeah, I think
Toronto in third.
I yeah, they're pretty much out of it. I think Toronto is,
Yeah.
and there's a chance, but I don't think they're going to even make a wild card.
And then you've got the
Yankees
Yankees
and
in Boston.
yeah, the big news about Boston was this: they fired their general manager.
Uh huh.
Okay, and he had a pretty good track record with some other teams as a general manager, and I think he came from Tampa Bay, I believe, and he had no budget at all in Tampa Bay, and he did a good job. And he had a pretty good budget in Boston, but he let some good ball players get away. Guys like Mookie Betts and the shortstop named Bogarts and stuff. They let them get away, and so the time was come. They had to. The old story is they had to fire somebody, so it's easier to fire one guy than it is a whole team.
Right. Right. And he
So
was the
they're
boss.
blaming him for everything. Yeah, Boston,
you know.
and he's in Boston.
Yeah. Wow. And then, of course, in the American League Central, you've got Minnesota at 78 wins and 71 losses there.
Yeah, Minnesota's kind of spreading it out a little bit there, and um, look like they're definitely probably going to win that division. Cleveland, maybe a wild card.
Yeah.
All the rest of the team, Detroit and the White Sox and Kansas City, obviously they're all out of it.
Yeah.
You know.
And then, of course, in the American League East, West, excuse me, you've got Houston in first place right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Houston. What can you say about Houston? Every year, Houston's got. They're. They start out kind of slow, but then about the first or second week in August, they start getting hot, and they're in the playoffs, and they usually win the division. So,
Yeah.
um, that's pretty much over with. I think. What's Texas? How many games out of Texas? I can't see the
80,
screen here.
82 to 66. They're really just what? A win difference.
half, half a game out. Is that a
Half a
half a
game
game
out.
there?
Half a game out.
Okay. There's a chance, Texas can win the division, but definitely Houston and Texas is going to be on in the playoffs, and then along with the next guy, Seattle.
Right.
Okay, they're definitely going to make it.
Yeah.
And the big news about the Angels is that probably the most valuable player this year, maybe he's out for the season for the Angels,
Right.
Otani, and he's gone for the rest of the season. He's cleaned out his locker, and so he may not even be back with the Angels next year
Oh, wow.
because he's a free agent. Yeah,
Wow.
he's hurt, and so yeah,
Wow. And then, of
yeah.
course, you've got.
Interesting news about Seattle. Yeah, something else I want to say about Seattle is I just remembered that their pitcher um, last week, he pitched about 5 innings or so, and so so he decided, well, he didn't need to pitch the rest of the game, so he
Wow.
took himself out.
Wow.
So yeah. So back in the day, the guys like Gibson and Warren Spahn and all those guys, they pitched 9 innings, 12 innings, whatever it took. And this guy for Seattle, he decides he needs to take himself out at 5 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they lost the game too. So
All right. And now looking at the National League, the East, I believe that Atlanta has already clinched the division,
yeah,
right?
Atlanta's already cinched. Yeah, Cardinals played. Excuse me, The Cardinals played Atlanta in Atlanta um, last week. Also, Atlanta's just got a super team. It's just a super team. Now the Cardinals kind of beat up on Atlanta a little bit, but you know, um, the it was just one of those deals. Everybody loses a game, but yeah, I think the Cardinals probably took it up a notch or two, playing the best team in baseball. But Atlanta is definitely the best team in baseball. All through their lineup and their pitching is just superb. Ronald Acuna is having a great year, and then you've got their catcher that they got from Oakland. He's having a good year, and their first baseman that replaced Freddie, not Freddie Fender, but but
Fender.
Freddie, I forget his last name, and he's having he's got like 50 homers now,
Yeah.
50, 51 homers.
Well,
Yeah,
you've
and
got
that's just
Philly
name a
right
few.
behind them. Hmm.
Yeah, the Phillies, they're definitely going to probably take that wild card slot.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. I mean, Miami's got a chance, but I think it's I don't think it's gonna. But Philly's got a good team.
You don't think the Mets or the Nationals have a chance?
The Mets are the Nationals. No, the Mets, they got to retool. I think,
Yeah.
you know,
And then you've got the Central Division, and you've got Milwaukee on top.
yeah, Milwaukee, they're going to win the division. The Cubs are going to get a playoff berth. Don't think after watching Cincinnati play against the Cardinals last week, I don't think Cincinnati's got enough horsepower to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say going down, I think it's going to be Milwaukee and the Cubs. Cubs
Yeah.
be the wild card team.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got your Redbirds there, Doug, down at the bottom of the barrel there.
We're battling for last place.
And
It's
then,
going to be interesting because we need in the off season. They still have a good attendance in St. Louis. And they always have promotions. Last night was Ozzie Smith's Magician Night.
yeah,
And all that kind of stuff. And the fans in St. Louis are just super fans. But we're going to have to go after probably 3 starting pitchers next year, and there's not a whole lot of inventory out there to choose from.
right.
And so, but we're going to have to sell more RB sandwiches.
I guess
So
so.
they may not have the meat much longer because they're going to have to do something to raise that payroll to get some decent pitchers in there.
Right. Right. And then, of course, the National League West. I think the Dodgers have also clinched, right?
Yeah, Dodgers. It's going to be. Looks like it's going to be the Dodgers and the Braves in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Arizona and San Francisco. It looks like is pulling ahead of Frisco now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arizona's got a decent team. They got a good young team.
Right.
Arizona doesn't. They're wild card bound if they don't go any farther than a wild card. But they're definitely going to be contender next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And then, of course, you've got the Padres and the Rockies down at the bottom there.
Yeah, I mean the Padres. Very disappointing season
Yeah.
with all their superstars they got on that team.
Yeah. Definitely. It's definitely been disappointing for them. So, you want to talk to us a little bit about this chart that I pulled up? Here, give me a second. There we go. I can only display a little bit of it. There we go.
Okay. We can start with the ALDS. I guess we can go left to right here.
Right.
Um, probably the probably what it's going to be is probably Baltimore and well they do the wild they always do the wild card teams first.
Okay.
So it'll probably be either like teams like Cleveland or Miami,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Tampa Bay, probably Tampa Bay. Hey, wouldn't it be something to see a Tampa Bay Miami playoff, huh?
Right.
Yeah. And then the winner of that series goes on and plays the winner of the divisions.
Right.
Okay, and then they have the uh, okay, and then they have the AL, ALCS, which is the playoff winner of the second round.
Right.
They play in the for the pennant, and so that's how the pennant's decided.
Mm-hmm. And then on the
Okay,
National League on the other side there.
National League, it's going to be probably okay. Atlanta will take a break. They'll probably have they're definitely going to miss since they already cinched. Atlanta and the Dodgers, they're going to have the first week of October off.
Right.
Okay, they can get healthy and get their pitching all set up, and then they'll play the winners of that and the wild card teams will probably be like the Cubs and Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the winner of that will be playing for the NLCS deal
Right.
or NLDS, all these acronyms. Okay.
Right. Right.
So my prediction is okay. I'm thinking we're going to see once again. We're going to see probably maybe Baltimore, and I'm going to go with Baltimore, and then I'm going to go with Atlanta in the
Mm-hmm.
World Series this year.
Wow. Your
Yeah,
crystal ball is telling you it'll be Baltimore and Atlanta.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. All righty, Doug.
I don't think Houston's got a good team, but they've had so many injuries this year that they're not the team like they usually are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta's they're just too deep. They get
Okay.
everything going on for them.
Yeah. Hey, look, they're advertising electric SUVs for seniors. Look at that.
How about that, huh?
You're going to go get yourself an EV vehicle, Doug, anytime soon?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I did see a YouTube video yesterday on a solar powered electric bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a company called Igwi EGWI,
Yeah.
and they sell a solar bike, and then you can buy solar collectors, and the solar collectors roll up, and you put them in the rack behind the seat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
and
is that to charge the lithium battery that's on the e-bike?
yeah,
Yeah. Now, is
yeah.
that
It's
a
a pretty heavy
continuous
bike.
charge, or
Yeah.
is that a
Huh?
just is that a continuous charge, or is it you charge it and disconnect it and and move on, or is it a
Well, it's
contin?
got two Yeah, it's a pretty heavy bike. It's got two batteries in it.
Yeah.
Okay, one battery is the seat post. It's real wide.
Uh huh.
Okay, and that's the regular that's the regular lithium battery, and then the one that goes on the frame that you see on most bikes like mine,
Mm-hmm.
that's a solar battery.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Well,
and but it didn't mention the price, but
it's probably up
I I
there.
think you're I think you're going to see a solar e-bike here in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would think so. You know.
but I will say out here in the hood, man, we are littered with Teslas out here.
Oh yeah, we're the Tesla capital of Texas, I think. You don't see that past Harlingen or anywhere in the rest of the valley, but we definitely see a lot of Teslas in Brownsville. There's no doubt about
Yeah,
that. You
I don't know
know,
if the lease program they've got. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
have no idea, but they're pretty popular here. But then, the big man is down here all the time, so that probably is a factor too, I guess.
Yeah, I saw every week, Lab Padre. They come out with a weekly what happened at SpaceX for a week,
Right.
and they showed from a drone. They showed Elon walking around with some guy
Yeah.
checking on something.
Yeah. Yeah, he's down here, and then that kid is still tracking his airplane takeoff and landings no matter where he goes.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, there's a
Well, that's a
guy.
full.
There's a guy on the
That's the.
internet.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a full time job because I'm sure Elon, between Austin and California and Texas, he's busy all the time.
Yeah, he's
But
clocking lots
it
of
was it,
hours.
it was interesting to know. I didn't know Blue Horizons had a place at Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Jeff Bezos is not too far behind him as far as space travel goes. You know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They've got a few regulatory hurdles to get past through, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
But anyway,
it's been interesting. It's been an interesting baseball season this year. Of course,
yeah,
I'm very disappointed because the Cardinals didn't were so bad. Um, they're playing decent baseball now, but as my dad would always say, it's the salary drive, son. You
yeah,
know, they, they had the most homers in September, so that way they can get more money
yeah,
and in the off season. But it's surprise teams is Baltimore, Arizona, and Miami.
right,
Okay, and even Tampa Bay, with little or no payroll, they're outperforming the high payroll teams, and I think this kind of tells you that maybe you know you don't have to have a high price free agent on your team in order to be competitive.
right, right. There's just
Just
got to
do it
be a
with the
little
farm
hunger.
system.
As I've said, they've got to be hungry enough for it. You know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the teams are putting money in the farm systems. Okay, so they go out and sign, I don't know, 20, 30 ball players, and then only one of them make it if they're lucky.
Yeah,
That's, but it's still cheaper than going out and, you know, and, the Cardinals, they brought up Mason Wynn, which is my fan favorite, and also, Jordan Walker has emerged as a superstar,
yeah,
as an emerging superstar for the Cardinals. So, yeah.
righty.
Yeah. So next
Well,
year, none. There's always next year, right?
there's always next year. That's what the Cowboys usually say. All righty, Doug. Well, it was a great episode this afternoon. I hope that you get out there and do some e biking, maybe jump into the Green Monster afterwards. And we'll go ahead and see you this coming week for another episode of Doug's Dugout. And I hope you have a good remaining day of your Sunday.
Yeah. Just one more thing, Danny, before we break. On Tuesday, iOS 17 will be out on the
Ah,
iPhone. Okay. And on the Apple TV and on the Apple Watch. And September 22nd is the Mac.
ah,
Okay. I've updated all my devices with the betas.
uh huh.
So right now we're on the beta on the Mac. We're on Sonoma on the Mac. Um, it's a minor change, minor update change. There's
Right.
a few good features. The watch had some stuff, but I the only thing I got, and the iPhone do too. The iPhone, the iPhone's the iPhone,
Yeah.
but there's some good changes on iOS 17. I was looking forward to the bicycle app on the workouts on the watch and the phone, and I've used that, and I'm not disappointed with it. I kind of like it, but the only trouble is that the miles per hour on my bike does not match up with what's on the watch or on the phone.
Ah,
The watch and the phone are about 2 miles an hour off than the bike, and I know my bike is accurate.
right. Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and um, so
Well, I
I
definitely will
wrote
be
out a
looking to
I
do
wrote out
that
a bug
upgrade on my
request,
iPad here.
and so I sent it in to Apple. So I don't know if they'll look at it or not. But
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's discovered that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be doing my update here on my iPad. Let's see. It's
did you
also going
order
to
a
be
new
released.
iPhone Friday? Did you?
No, 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 no. I haven't. I'm a poor podcaster. All righty,
Highly
Doug.
compensated. I highly compensated podcaster.
All righty, Doug. All right, everybody. This was it for Doug's Dugout, episode 12. If you didn't catch the live version, you can do so starting this afternoon on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you want to catch a recorded version, you can do so on Twitch, Facebook Live, YouTube, and X. Of course, we're broadcasting on X. We thank all our X viewers. Our numbers have been very high. And we thank our X fans for watching. So, Doug, have a great Sunday. We'll see you next week.
Okay, Danny. Take care, buddy. See you
All right.
later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.